All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about a company that built a billion-dollar empire by, get this, telling its customers to buy less. And then, in a move that absolutely floored the business world, they decided to just give it all away. This is the incredible story of Patagonia. This right here. This was the bombshell from founder Yvon Chouinard back in 2022. I mean, think about it. Instead of cashing out or taking the company public, he made a choice that completely rewired its very existence. But what does that really mean? Earth is our only shareholder. You see, this wasn't just some big charity check. The family transferred their entire ownership, the whole thing, valued at around $3 billion, into a brand new, unique structure. And the goal? To make sure that every single dollar of profit from now until forever goes directly to protecting the planet. Okay, so how did they actually pull this off? Well, the setup is kind of brilliant. It's in two parts. First, 2% of the stock, and these are the all-important voting shares, went into something called the Patagonia Purpose Trust. The family controls this to make sure the company never, ever strays from its core mission. Then, the other 98%, the non-voting stock, was given to the Holdfast Collective, a nonprofit that gets all the profits to fight the environmental crisis. A move this radical, it doesn't just happen overnight. So you have to ask, how did a company get to a point where giving itself away felt like the only logical next step? To get that, we've got to go way back to the beginning, with a founder who, funny enough, never even wanted to be a businessman. You see, the company's whole mindset was built over decades. It kicked off back in the 50s with Chouinard, who was just a climber making his own gear because the stuff out there was actually damaging the rocks. By 85, way before it was cool, they pledged 1% of all sales to environmental groups. Then in 96, they took this huge financial gamble by switching their entire cotton line to way more expensive organically grown cotton. This ethos, it isn't a new marketing tactic. It's literally in the foundation of the company. And this really gets to the core of it all. From day one, the entire goal was to make stuff that was so high quality, so durable, that you wouldn't need to replace it. And that is the ultimate paradox, right? A for-profit company whose whole reason for being runs completely opposite to the engine of consumerism, which is all about constant buying. So, how does a company with what seems like an anti-growth philosophy become such a financial powerhouse? How do you build a billion-dollar brand while literally telling people not to buy your products? Well, let's take a look at the numbers. In 2022, Patagonia's estimated annual revenue hit roughly $1.5 billion. Yeah, that's billion with a B. To put that into perspective, that's more money in a year than a lot of old-school retail brands that have been around forever. It just goes to show their purpose-driven model isn't some niche idea. It's a massively successful business strategy. And their success isn't just coming from their physical stores. Not at all. According to Grip's Intelligence, their e-commerce site, just by itself, brought in over $52 million in revenue in a single month. We're talking February of 2024. That online engine is absolutely critical for fueling their mission. And here's the real bottom line for the planet. The company figures that from now on, it's going to pay out an annual dividend of around $100 million. And every single cent of that will go straight to the Holdfast Collective to be used for environmental work every single year. And this growth, it's been incredibly consistent. Over the last decade, they've more than doubled their revenue. They went from about $600 million in 2012 to breaking $1 billion by 2019 and then hitting that $1.5 billion mark in 2022. It is just crystal clear proof that their version of capitalism really works. Okay, so they make a whole lot of money and they've pledged it all to the planet. We get it. But what are the actual things they do every day? How do they really walk the talk beyond these huge financial announcements? Well, it all starts right here with their official mission. They actually updated it in 2018 to be as direct as humanly possible. It's not about making the best product anymore. Nope. The number one goal, the stated reason the company even exists, is to save the planet. And they don't just put that on a poster, they implement this mission with real, concrete programs. They're constantly innovating with recycled materials, they publish their supply chain for everyone to see, they run the Worn Wear program to repair and resell old gear, and they are not shy about activism. They even sued the US government back in 2017 to protect public lands. Of course, running a massive global apparel company on these kinds of ideals, it's not simple. It creates these inherent paradoxes and, has led to some very fair criticism about the gap between what they say and what they do. So first, there's that core paradox we talked about, selling stuff while preaching anti-consumerism. But beyond that, the company has faced some really serious allegations about its global supply chain. In 2021, it was named in a criminal complaint in Europe, which alleged it benefited from forced Uyghur labor. And then in 2023, a report from a Dutch investigative group alleged that Patagonia used some of the same factories as fast fashion brands, where workers were paid less than half of a livable wage. These are the complicated and honestly harsh realities of a global supply chain that really challenge the company's ethical image. Now, one quick but really important clarification you might see floating around online: the clothing company, Patagonia Inc., is completely 100% separate from a company called Patagonia Gold Corp., which is a mining company. Totally different logos, different businesses, entirely unrelated, just so you know. So what's the big takeaway here? When you weigh the incredible history, the radical ownership, the massive profits, and those very real criticisms, what are the key lessons from this 50-year experiment? Well, the lessons are pretty powerful. First, Patagonia proves that an anti-consumerist message can, ironically, be an amazingly profitable marketing strategy. It turns your brand values into a real identity for customers. Second, their model of being radically transparent, even when it uncovers deep problems in their supply chain, can actually build more trust, not less. And finally, by taking away the pressure of hitting quarterly numbers, they've shown that a true long-term vision isn't just about sustainability. It's about building a much more resilient business overall. And all of that leaves us with the big, lingering question. Is this whole story a one-of-a-kind thing, only possible because of a unique founder and 50 years of building trust? Or is the Patagonia model a genuine blueprint for a new, more responsible kind of capitalism that other companies could, and maybe should, follow? That's really the billion-dollar question they've left for the rest of the business world to figure out.